Hi, folks. It's Gary Walker, and welcome to WBGO Studios. Although WBGO celebrates Black history every day with the music that we share, February gives us the opportunity to closely peruse some of the elements which demand attention. The strideful expression from U.E. Blake, the civil righteousness of Max Roach's declaration that it's time, the
Mhm.
cry of a morning heartache from Billie Holiday, a second line syncopation from the Crescent City, the sanctifying spirit of a Sunday go to church meeting. For 12-year-old pianist Lafayette Harris Jr., hearing UB Blake play Maple Leaf Rag was a kickstart to a life in music. With pedigree from Oberlin Conservatory and jazz performance at Rutgers, Lafayette's journey has taken him from Max Roach, trombonist Roswell Rudd, and saxophonist Archie Shepp, to singers Ernestine Anderson and Melba Moore. His own albums celebrate the American Songbook as well as originals, some of which honor his mentor Barry Harris and Nat King Cole. With All in Good Time, Lafayette Harris Jr. gets inside many of these spirits with bassist Kenny Davis, drummer Jerome Jennings, and special guests, legendary saxophonist Houston Person and outstanding trumpeter Jeremy Pelt. And what an honor it is and a pleasure to share with you a conversation today with Lafayette Harris Jr. All in good time? It is time. Hello, Lafayette. Welcome to WBGO.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I'm so glad to be here and been listening to you and all those other people on BGO for a long, long time. It's great to be here.
And we've been sharing your music for a long, long time, too. And your story, let's get right to it. This is a very happy record for you because when you got ready to make this record, you were proposing to a woman who said yes. And you are a newlywed. Antoinette and Lafayette are indeed sharing the joy of togetherness, all in good time. And that's why this record has such a joyful spirit to it. Another of the reasons is some of the sense memory that he's going to share with us today, like with the legendary Max Roach. He was part of Max's last working small group and salutes him a couple of times here. The first time is with It's Time. Some of you may remember the 1962 recording with Max and his sextet, and also a chorus put together by Coleridge Taylor Perkinson, and also the voice of Abby Lincoln. But with that chorus, it just made that record sound so big. And,
Mhm.
and it was a follow up to his civil rights recording, Percussion Bittersweet. It's time. And man, after hearing that, you realized it was time. And your time with Max Roach was pretty special. And you take that piece of music and turn it into a trio offering. And it's just amazing. What were some of the things that Max Roach imparted to you along the way?
Oh, man. Uh, just so many things uh, about playing with freedom and abandon and and not just doing what's every day, and always being passionate. That's what this kind of song, especially when you get into the improvising, the blowing. Uh, it's really about passion more than it is about. It's like a departure from what he did with the bebop thing, which was a lot of precision. A lot of great passion too. But you had to be precise and make sure you made the chord changes and keep all that tempo thing and all that going. Uh, um, I would say that it's a vibe. He created a different way of playing at this period where it was more about the vibe that you're putting out, and I think it spoke to the time that he was working in. Once you got to those '60s things, it was a different feel in the nation. I was born in '63, so I don't know anything about '62 other than when I talked to him about it, and my parents, of course. Um, But I think just you know, you look at uh, the other musicians who were ascending at that period, Archie Shepp, and people were playing more or less out at the same time. There was a big soulful thing going on at the same time. So soulful and that passionate expression in music was kind of taking more of the forefront than what Bird had been doing, you know?
And Max had that ability to cover both those bases. In fact, he imparted to you the adage of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh yeah.
Right? You
Oh,
turned in a tune to him one time. You were honored that he said, "Bring a tune, man. We're going to do a tune." And the tune was too difficult. And
you know that story?
yeah, and he sent you away. He said, "No, man, just keep it simple, but get into the spirit like you were just talking. Get into the spirit of the tune." And that's very apparent on the next tune on this record, which is a salute to Max Roach. You wrote the tune. It's an original and it's called For Maxwell.
Yes. Man, I wish I had written it when he was alive. I needed it then. And but he gave me the most beautiful lesson. You know, that keep it simple, stupid. I don't know if it's stupid, but keep it simple, having simple without simplicity.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to have some kind of spirit in it. And basically, if you have some kind of spirit in there, just about anything will work, you know? So it was definitely his spirit in there. And, uh, you know, it just, you know, it just worked, even though it was a very simple tune. What
Yeah.
can I
But
say?
when you talk about Max Roach, you can't leave the room without mentioning Clifford Brown. And that's why there's a trumpet on this tune here. Oh man, the outstanding trumpeter, Jeremy Pelt.
Yeah, man. I'd always wanted to play with Pelt, you know, and we always had a good rapport, but we hadn't really done any gigs together, you know. Um, and I said, one day, get this guy to play something important. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it is, but uh, this tune, you mind if I talk about this
No,
song?
no,
Uh,
absolutely.
Number 8 is called Time.
Yes. Well, a tune written by Richie Powell when he was part of the Clifford Brown Max Roach group.
And you just know that everything we're talking about today encompasses Max Roach.
Yeah.
Everything, you know, whether I say his name or not. But Time was recommended to me. I wasn't aware of the tune other than maybe just hearing it when I heard the records, whole album. Houston person recommended this song to me.
Yeah.
And I asked Jeremy Powell, was he familiar? He said he loved it. And so it was perfect for us to, you know, do it together in the studio, you know.
And
So
Richie Powell, unfortunately, along with his wife and Clifford Brown, after a gig in Philadelphia, were on their way to another one and they were in a car crash on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and they all died. But
that's it.
man, they left us with so much. We're chatting today with Lafayette Harris Jr., taking the time, the good time, all
Hmm.
in good time
That's
here
right.
on WBGO. And we talked about Richie Powell and I mentioned some of the other flavors and spirits that he gets into in this record. You know, Billie Holiday's "Good Morning Heartache" with Jerome Jenkins
Jerome Jennings.
on the Jerome Jennings on the mallets
Yeah.
and the brushes for that tune. It's just gorgeous, man.
Oh man, thank you, thank you. You know, I wanted to create actually, you know, I'm a big fan of Hank Jones, pianist, and I wanted to create a Hank Jones vibe, you know.
You got it, man. You
And
got
and and again,
it.
Max and Hank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they played on a version of Confirmation with Charlie Parker together.
Oh, okay. I think you might be right. Yeah. Yeah, they were all together back then, man.
They certainly were, you know. And so that beautiful, spacious kind of vibe that Hank Jones produces when he and it plays. And I wanted Kenny Davis, the wonderful bass player. I'm so glad he was able to do this record finally with me. Gave him room to do all these beautiful arpeggios, you know.
Yeah. And Kenny's a soulful cat himself. You hear it on a tune that I grew up with in the mid '60s, Iko Iko, right?
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah.
and and Kenny takes a turn on the bass there, and man, when you hear that, you understand why when Don Braden wants to recreate a salute to Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind and Fire, who does he go get? He go gets bassist Kenny Davis.
Yes, 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 yes.
But
That's right.
Iko man's got that happy spirit, man, of New Orleans, that second line feel. And I'm trying to remember, I forget. The Dixie
Mhm.
Cups. That's who it was. They had the
That's right.
original hit back
Was
in
it
the 60s.
Dixie
Iko on
Cups,
day.
Dixie Cups or Dixie Chicks or something like that? I
Yeah, I
can't
think it was the
remember.
Dixie Cups. Yeah, the
Dixie
Dixie
Cups.
Chicks came later. That's
Oh,
that's a country group.
that's a country group. Okay. Yes, right. And there's no music. I mean, it's only vocals on there, and I think maybe percussion or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But Kenny
yeah.
takes that bass, man, and puts it right in the space where it should be, and it'll have you dancing. The new record is called All in Good Time. It's for the Savant record label. You've done a number of records for the group over there.
The Fields
Barney,
family.
the Fields family, Barney and his late father Joe. When I moved to New York in 1982, I knew one person in all of New York City, and it was Joe Fields.
No kidding.
And I went to see Joe and I said, I want to do some radio part time, not full time, but get my jazz radio chops going around here. And he told me about a station at Columbia University and a station way up in Connecticut. And he said, but there's this little tight knit group out in Newark, and they have a jazz station. And here's a guy that's running things there. You might get in touch with them. And lo and behold, 5 weeks later, I was on the radio on Saturday mornings. And the cat that followed me was a guy that worked with Houston Person for years producing records, Bob Porter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Porter and I became pretty good friends. He got me entry into Van Gelder's studio for a Jimmy McGriff date, where I actually end up clapping on a version of Fats Domino's hit "I'm Walking." I got no credit though, but I got to go to the studio, and that's where this record was captured. Was
That's
at
right.
Van Gelder's studios in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and the Sicklers, Don and Maureen, keeping that thing alive, man, because it almost went away, man.
It is. Yeah.
Almost went away. This
Mhm.
music is a family affair, and it gets real close to home with Lafayette. He wrote a tune for his brother and his brother's wife. It's called For Denise and Vincent. And he
Yeah.
even quotes a little Charlie Parker.
Hey man, you can't go wrong when you start one of the masters as far as your uh, uh, influence of your songwriting. Well, how bad can your song actually be when you get done? Uh, and a little Duke Ellington here, a little Charlie Parker there. You're on the right track. And besides, that's when you look at the classical masters, they were doing that all the time. Quoting each other. Uh, I don't know, stealing from these, appropriating.
Appropriating, borrowing, if you will, and
uh,
and accommodating other areas of their own life. When I lived in Fort Worth, Texas, in the late 1960s, a very segregated town, and I would cross over on Sundays to the black part of town where Como High School was. And there was a church there. And I used to sit outside on the sidewalk because they had this choir, man, that I don't know what it did, but I wanted to be there and listen to it. And the church, for many folks, is an integral part of their inspiration. I know it was for Hank Jones and for many other folks, and it is for Lafayette Harris too, because on this recording, he pulls a hymn that some of you probably know, if not a lot of you. And if it's
mhm.
not a lot of you, you need to get yourself back to church on Sunday. But the tune is called We Are One in the Spirit. And it starts with just the piano. And before you know it, it's like it's moving you, man. Make you
Mm.
give up put all your money in the plate.
That's what the preacher would love.
And once again, you got Kenny doing his thing,
Hmm.
and Jerome doing his thing. Oh man, it's a marvelous recording. And here we are talking on this February morning. We've got teens for highs during the day. We've got single digits for lows during the night. So maybe you give a listen to a tune that Lafayette wrote called Long Hot Summer Blues.
Mm.
Needs to be a in there. And it features not only himself, the trio, but also both of the special guests, Houston Person and Jeremy Pelt.
Mm.
So hang in there, folks. All in good time. We'll get those temperatures back up around the 80, 90-degree mark, and we'll all be bitching about the heat. You've done so much during the course of your life and played with so many people. I mentioned some of them at the front of our conversation here, but everybody had a respite and had some downtime during the COVID years. And that led to doing some other things, reading books and stuff. When I was a kid, I used to watch television, when I wasn't playing ball. And I loved this tune that was on one of my favorite shows, Peter Gunn. And I actually had my mother drive me to the record store and I bought the music from Peter Gunn. Henry Mancini put it all together. And
Mm.
that was one of my first encounters with the world of jazz, in addition to my dad's Duke Ellington, Lionel Hampton records. He dug Lena Horne too. But for you, during the downtime, you had a chance to watch, one of my favorite ladies. In fact, Tim Conway was one of the funniest cats on the planet, and he was part of that show too. The Carol Burnett show, and
Hmm.
and the outro of that show is well, it's got words. It's saying, "I'm so glad we got a chance to spend this time together," right?
Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
that's the last tune on the record.
Hmm. Yeah. I, like you say, during COVID, I was like, okay, me and my publicity person, Michelle, were like, what can we do that incorporates things that the ordinary people like, ordinary, non-jazz people, non-jazz musicians,
Yeah.
uh, um, and people watch TV. They're familiar with TV themes, and uh, you know, a lot of stuff I think I dealt with, but this one right here, and it was a much, it's kind of it's got some serious chord changes, and I sat with it and tried to figure out a way to do it, um, that I would be worthy of putting on a record. I'm so glad I got a chance to really delve into it. It really reflects all the time that I've spent with different masters, Ernestine Anderson, which is where I dealt with the Houston person a lot and play in his band regularly
Dean was
now.
one of my favorite ladies, man. I loved her. She
Yeah,
was she
man.
was fantastic. And whenever she came to New York, she, myself, Dorthon, we would all hang out together. What a spirit, man. What a
That's for
spirit.
sure. That's for sure. Magical.
And the first
Magical.
time I was at hosting a show at Lincoln Center, and there was a cat. We were all backstage, right? And it was in the afternoon, and there was this young kid wandering around, and one of the security guards came out and said, "Hey, you can't hang out back here." And he said, "But I'm telling you, you can't hang out here. You got to get out."
Hmm.
And Steen was in her dressing room, and she heard it, and she came out, and she said, "What's the problem here?" And he said, "No, there's no problem. It's just this young kid's, hanging out back here, and we got to get him out of here." And she goes, that's my pianist. It was Larry Fuller, man. And he was like, I don't know, 16 years old, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
And he was
Oh,
her pianist. But I love me some Ernestine. And you play with Melba Moore and a lot of other folks too, Lafayette Harris Jr. And I'm sure all these encounters, certainly on this recording, they've informed a lot of the music and the vibe that we get with All in Good Time. You're
Oh,
in
for
a
sure.
dressing room right now. I have to ask, what are you doing?
I am doing a show in Washington, D.C. with my man Savion Glover and Mr. Tony Goldwyn. It's called Shea Joey, as in Joey's house. And I think they're looking for me. I told them I was going to take a little time to talk to you. And I am the like assistant music director and playing the piano and doing a little acting.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'll tell you, Lafayette, I'm so glad we had this time together. The
It's
new
been a pleasure.
recording is all in good time. Congratulations to you and Antoinette on your marriage. You know, I'm going to have you back for your 20th or 30th anniversary. But by then, you'll have to speak up real loud because 40, 50 years of headphones, I'll be totally deaf by then. But we'll try, man. Continued success. Thank you for sharing your creativity. You make our jobs so much easier at WBGO. All in good time, my friends. Lafayette Harris Jr., thank you for spending some of that time with us here at WBGO.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Take a good care, everybody.